Man soweth that shall he also reap.
All right, it's 4 p.m. on Wall Street. Do you know where your money is?
How much should I invest?
I really looking for some direction.
Should I hold on to my house as an investment for my future?
What should we do to have money that we're putting aside?
Welcome to Financial Issues, where we align reality with truth. Conservative talk radio you can count on. Financial issues that you need to know.
We face a disintegrating economy, a weakened defense, and an energy policy based on the sharing of scarcity. We will simply apply to government the common sense that we all use in our daily lives.
Now, here's your host, Dan Celia.
I have a dream that my poor little children will one day live in a nation where they will not be judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character. I have a dream today.
It is, the words are so powerful. Wouldn't it be wonderful if we could judge true and right judgments, as the Bible would say, make judgment on the content of one's characters? Unfortunately, we've lost sight of that. We've lost sight of that in our society, whether white or black, is irrelevant. We live in a world where we don't judge anybody by the content of their character. As a matter of fact, we live in a society where character means little. It is just incredible. And every time I hear that, it just reminds me of what a powerful statement it is, because that's the kind of world I think that we all long to live in, when character truly does make a difference based on the fact that you will be judged on that character, ethics, morality that you have. And we certainly have lost sight of that. So great stuff. As we think about that, the president will be speaking from that same spot, I believe, on the mall there in Washington, in reference, in honor of this 50th anniversary. Of course, we have liberals taking credit for being like Ronald Reagan, taking credit for being certainly believing that Martin Luther King Jr. would embrace the policies of this president. I'm trying to find a clip. Some of you may remember, but a year or so ago, having Alberta King on the program, saying that if Martin Luther King Jr. were alive today, he would certainly be a conservative and would align himself with the Republican Party based on the values that they espouse. But anyway, interesting comments coming out of the administration and such in reference to this. But the fact of the matter is, it was an incredible speech. It was an 8-minute speech that went 16 minutes, that was driven, I believe, by God, as God laid on Martin Luther King Jr.'s the ad lib parts of that speech that were so powerful even today when you listen to it. It's great stuff. And just amazing for that. I do remember the day, the event. I was a young boy. My father was engaged in all of that, and I remember hearing him talk to others about the speech that day. So it's interesting. I'm glad that I have some memory of that. Of course, I'm glad to have any memory about anything sometimes, which I question. But anyway, we're going to get to financial issues. There are many financial issues that we need to talk about today. I want to talk about yours, of course, things that you are concerned about or thinking about, and you are welcome to call at 866-300-9298, 866-300-9298. Of course, as you know, we will continue to hammer away at Obamacare. It looks like the administration is hammering away at Obamacare. I'll talk about that in a minute. We are highlighting Senator Mary Landrieu from Louisiana this week. If you go to my website, financialissues.org, right down in the left-hand corner, there's a box called Accountability Corner. We are holding her accountable for her incredible support of Obamacare and her comments calling it shameful. America's healthcare system is shameful compared to France and Spain. Obviously, someone who has never been in France or Spain, not been there, but of course, remember, she is a modern-day American politician that does not associate with commoners and doesn't think that commoners have much say in anything she does other than paying her paycheck. So she obviously didn't speak to any of the commoners about their health care system. I personally have been twice in emergency rooms in Europe. She obviously has not been. Because if that's the health care system she wants, I'm trying to figure out why so many are clamoring to get here for health care. But we're going to hold her accountable, and we are going to flood all of her offices with phone calls, especially you that live in the great state of Louisiana, for her support. She said recently, I played a clip yesterday, I may play it again later, that she will continue to support Obamacare, and if she had to vote for it again, she would vote for it all over again. You can find all of her phone numbers, not only for her national office, but all of the local offices as well. And I know all of you are going to call, and the numbers are on my website at financialissues.org. It's on the front page. It'll take you 2 seconds to write them down. Just go to the accountable corner there. You'll see it. Listen to what she said.
No more free riders. Everybody has to share responsibility so we can keep a healthy workforce and keep it strong. And I can give you more information about it. If I had to vote for the bill again, I would vote for it tomorrow. There are a lot of good things about this bill.
A lot of good things. Yeah, I guess the 17 different taxes and the 123 different bureaucracies that now have to be established, maybe that's some of the good things. That would be a good thing for a politician. That would be a wonderful thing in expanding the size of government. And we've got a government that has mismanaged everything they lay their hands on, but for somehow we can allow them to hold the lives of ourselves and our loved ones in their hands. Wow. But you're going to call, you're going to tell her that maybe you can't vote for her, but you're going to do everything you can to work against her to make sure that she does not get reelected, that you are on the side of working to get rid of the old guard, whether they be Republican or Democrats. Remind her that last week you called, or the week before last, you called in reference to Lindsey Graham, a Republican. You called his office, and we will continue to call both sides out. That we are going to work to make sure that she is replaced. She needs to know that. So call one of our offices in either New Orleans or Lake Charles or Baton Rouge, Shreveport. The phone numbers for those offices are on my site, financialissues.org. Make sure you check it out. So we got bad new home sales numbers yesterday. That was not good news for the markets by any stretch of the imagination. As a matter of fact, it was very bad news. We've got bad news. Remember, durable good numbers. Today at 10 o'clock, we get existing home sales that are coming out. So we'll see what kind of numbers they are. I suspect they might not be good either. And now with all the tensions in Syria, the odds of any kind of tapering coming in September are slim to none. I said that before, I say it again, but it's likely slim to none. We're not going to see that. So we're going to watch 10 o'clock existing home sales. We're going to watch that number very carefully. Speaking of Obamacare, the administration, this just out, by the way, the Obama administration has delayed a step crucial to the launch of new health care law, the signing of final agreements with insurance plans to be sold on federal health insurance exchanges. So the administration was supposed to sign agreements from insurance companies, all those ugly profiteers called private sector insurance. He was going to sign a deal with the insurance companies for the agreements on the federal exchanges that, by the way, in case you're looking at a calendar, are scheduled to start and open on October 1st. But apparently there's a delay. They were supposed to be signed by the week of September 5th to the 9th. That was the originally anticipated date. But a spokeswoman for HHS said the department remains on track for opening marketplaces on October 1st, but needs to delay the signing of these agreements. Remember, not only does Congress pass the law, which has been accepted, not only does the Supreme Court uphold the law, which and all the provisions of it that has been accepted and is the law of the land. Now, the executive branch has the power to change the law at whim, to change the provisions of the law at whim. Last time I checked, the law makes a provision that all of those on Capitol Hill will be subject to the exchanges and will have to comply. He changed that. The law reads clearly that the mandate for businesses for providing and complying with Obamacare law will be January 1st. He extended that for a year. See, we have a president who has changed the executive branch to be part of the legislative branch so that he can just change things at a whim. Now, we understand that nobody there wants to pay any attention to the Constitution. I get that. But apparently, the Republicans don't care much about the Constitution any more than the Democrats do. Keep that in mind. Because exactly when was the last time you heard a Republican rebuke this notion that the president at his whim is changing the law? Can you imagine, just imagine for a moment, if this was George Bush exercising this abuse of power? Just imagine that for a moment. Just imagine what mainstream media would look like. I am so sick of using the term that I constantly use, the spineless weasel term, and the idea that we don't have anybody with any backbone to stand up. Listen, I'm not asking them to come up with some convoluted theory on why the president can't do that. I'm just asking them to stand firmly upon the Constitution of the United States and the powers afforded them by the legislative branch, and to call out an abuse of power by the executive branch, judicial branch, or any other branch. I'm not asking them to come up with some wild conspiracy theory and try to push it through Congress. They don't even have the guts to stand up for what everybody knows is wrong. Drives me crazy. It goes back to what I said yesterday. The whole deal is about Republicans. Forget the liberals. It's about the so-called, and I mean so-called conservatives, who are trying. Their talking points are wonderful. They even write books. They even write books about their talking points and what needs to happen. But ask them to do something, it's a whole other story. U.S. stock futures are holding on to fragile gains. It's not looking real good for the open here based on Syria. Of course, the numbers coming out of existing home sales are going to change that as well. Yesterday, the Dow closed down 170. Worst one-day loss in 2 years. Where do I talk about oil? We could be looking at $150 a barrel oil. It's not out of the realm of possibility based on the conflict in Syria. 866-300-9298. Financial Issues. I'll be right back.